Hi everyone, Peter here from Flow High Performance, and in this video, we'll be covering how to eat to reduce body fat and maintain your muscle mass. The first and most important factor for all nutritional interventions aimed at altering body composition is how many calories we eat per day. Calories are simply a unit of energy that is required every day for human movement and essential bodily functions. We expend a certain amount of energy each day, which comes from the calories we eat. For the goal of fat loss, we want to eat fewer calories per day than we expend, meaning that we are in a calorie deficit. By being in a calorie deficit, by definition we will be losing weight on the scale. However, the goal is to lose body fat, not muscle mass. So how do we know that the weight we are losing is fat and not muscle? Essentially, we can never be 100% sure that all the weight we lose is fat and not muscle. But we can implement certain strategies that we will cover in this video to maximize the amount of fat that is lost and minimize the amount of muscle that is lost. So how far should weight loss be? Well, there is no specific answer for this question. Rather, it depends on the individual and the context of their fat loss situation. While there is no slowest rate of weight loss that exists, there probably is a fastest rate for most healthy individuals. We generally don't want to see weight loss of more than around 1% of body weight per week. Unless we are prescribing a diet for a clinically ill population, weight loss of greater than around 1% of body weight per week will generally result in unsustainable hunger, decreased energy, or unfavorable muscle loss. We should also understand the trade-offs between losing at a faster versus a slower rate. The faster we lose weight, the quicker we reach our goals, and the shorter time we spend in a calorie deficit. However, this also increases our chances of losing more muscle tissue, decreases our energy for training, involves more rigid dieting strategies, and increases our hunger levels. Losing at a slower rate makes the process more sustainable and reduces the risk of muscle loss, but makes the diet longer and means that we don't reach our goals as quickly. The exact rate of weight loss that we implement may be influenced by the following factors. The first factor which will influence rate of weight loss is the initial body fat level of the trainee. Generally speaking, the more body fat someone has, the faster they can lose this without feeling excessive hunger or risking excessive muscle loss. The leaner someone is, the more physiologically disrupting fat loss will be, which generally means that slower weight loss will result in better outcomes. The next factor that will influence rate of weight loss is the time scale we have to diet with. If a trainee has a specific deadline that they want to be in a lean condition for, then the rate of weight loss may need to be faster to achieve this condition in time. If a trainee doesn't have any particular date they aim to be in a lean condition for, then they can lose weight at whatever pace they want. The last factor which will influence rate of weight loss is the trainee's experience with dieting. Losing weight is a skill that can improve over time. The more times a trainee goes through dieting periods, the better they become at dieting. So a more experienced dieter can probably push faster rates of weight loss if they need to, whereas a first-time dieter may be better off sticking with a slower rate of weight loss to make it more sustainable. Next, let's discuss protein intake. Protein intake refers to how much total amount of protein is consumed per day. To maximize muscle retention, or potentially even gain some muscle mass during a fat loss diet, trainees should consume around 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. So for an 80 kilo individual, a protein intake of between 120 to 160 grams should be consumed each day. Protein intakes of more than 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day don't seem to provide any additional benefits for body composition, so it is unnecessary to consume higher levels of protein than this. So how should this protein be distributed throughout the day? While protein distribution is not as important as the total daily amount of protein, some thought should be put into how it is spread throughout the day. Trainees should aim to distribute their total protein intake fairly evenly between 3 to 5 meals per day. This doesn't need to be very rigid. Trainees just need to make sure that they aren't consuming 80% of their protein in one meal and 20% over the other 2 to 4 meals. Next, let's discuss hunger management. Hunger is one of the biggest challenges with fat loss. The less we eat, the hungrier we will be. When dieting, hunger is an inevitable part of the process. However, there are a few factors we can manipulate that make hunger levels more or less manageable. The first factor is how lean we aim to diet to. Generally speaking, individuals don't really seem to notice significant hunger levels until they get to a very lean condition. So the leaner a trainee gets, the more intense the hunger signals will become. However, if an individual doesn't take a diet to the extreme levels, then hunger may never become a significant issue at all. The second factor that will influence hunger levels is the rate of weight loss. The faster the rate of weight loss is, the less calories that are required to consume, which means that hunger levels will increase. Slower rates of weight loss will allow more calories to be consumed through the diet, making hunger levels not as significant. And the last factor that can influence hunger levels is food volume. This refers to the caloric density of the foods we consume. Foods that have less calories per gram will generally be a little more filling than foods that have more calories per gram. This doesn't mean that trainees should aim to eat the lowest calorie foods at all times, but they should probably include some fairly low calorie foods with each meal to make it more satiating. And the last fundamental component of any fat loss diet is resistance training. While this isn't a part of the dieting side of the equation, it is very important to consider. Trainees should continue their resistance training throughout the dieting process. This will be the primary mechanism that instructs your body to keep your muscle mass. Without resistance training, a significant portion of the total weight loss will be from muscle mass. Resistance training should follow a hypertrophy protocol where the goal is to grow muscle. During a fat loss phase, it is unlikely that trainees will actually grow muscle, but if they have the intent to do so, they can probably maintain almost all of their previous muscle tissue. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you got something out of this video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already.